the basis of the framework is streamline, systematize, automate, and outsource. So what we're talking about today is the streamline part of it, which is the lean marketing engine. So we'll get into that later, but systematize is, can you build templates around this? Can you create automations around this? Can you use AI for pieces of it? What can we use as an anchor that we can repurpose?
Welcome to the Marketing Expedition podcast, an auditory journey through the latest in marketing, branding, and advertising. Now, here's your Marketing Expedition guide, Ray Allen.
On this episode of the Marketing Expedition podcast, you'll get to meet Sarah Noel Block, your marketing strategist friend. Sarah has rocked the content world for 16 years, and she's supported by big shots like Apartments.com and Prudential, but her heart lies with small teams. As the creator of the StrategicSpark Workshop, the StrategicStory, and Tiny Marketing Framework, she's a master at helping tiny teams achieve big results. With an award-winning content platform under her belt and features in Entrepreneur, Forbes, and Thrive, Sarah knows her stuff. Catch her speaking at conferences and dazzling audiences with her wisdom. She's like that favorite teacher who makes learning fun and impactful. Let Sarah guide your marketing journey and unlock the secrets to success. We're going to talk a lot about building a lean marketing engine, and especially when you may not have a marketing department. We'll get into that, but first it's time for your Marketing Essentials moment, the basics that you need to help you continue to build your brand and your bottom line. Today's topic, I wanted to cover about how you can go about developing effective, creative ads, okay? Effective ads really starts with some foundational components and thinking about how you are going to create the ads, if it's going to be informative, persuasive, or a reminder, and how you're going to implement that strategy, right? Is it going to be a top of mind awareness ad? Is it going to have a call to action? Is there going to be things that you want people to do specifically? What is the objective, right? So thinking about what do we want to create and why do we want to create it? And what is it going to do to impact our overall brand and bottom line? So thinking about when you are considering the strategic role that advertising will play in your overall marketing communication strategy and plan, what can you do to get clarity around your target audience? And of course, we've talked about empathy mapping and the personas and our most soulmate clients previously in the Marketing Expedition podcast. But thinking about your whole overall campaign strategy, looking at the budget, the timeline, what is it that you're going to do to develop that compelling advertising? Well, and really what we want to do is think about how our creative strategy is going to have two primary components, really. It's the message that you're going to deliver and the appeal to the right audience that you're going to deliver that message to, okay? The message comes from the framework that we had discussed in previous Marketing Essentials moments. And we're talking about who we're going to convey our message to. We've done some surveys. We've done some primary and secondary research. We know who our audience is inside and out. What should the key message be? And again, what is that call to action? What is the brand promise that you want to manifest in the ad? What is it that you want the viewer to experience and see? What's the emotion you want them to have that's surrounding your brand experience? And how can you create this ad that is going to be in alignment with your objectives, right? How are you going to position the messaging? What's going to be the differentiating factor? And what's going to be the appeal to capture the attention of your target audience, right? Because we're all vying for attention, right? We want that headspace of our ideal target audience. And so the things that we are crafting and molding and growing and scripting and thinking about that key messaging that's so vital to the effectiveness of this creative ad strategy that we are putting together. What can we remember the most that we want to identify with, that we want to communicate, not only just words, right? Not just voiceover, not just the text on the screen, but also with images, the sound, the tonality, the style, all of those things that we talk about with our brand voice and what you want it to convey. And then thinking about exactly how that ad is going to play in all of the different types of platforms that you may or may not want to employ that ad in, right? So thinking about, okay, how this ad could be showing up in Instagram, for example, might be showing up slightly differently in how it could show up in Facebook, or how it could show up in Pinterest, or as a Google ad, or as a radio commercial, or as a billboard, or any of those different methods that we can employ with our ads, right? And thinking about, okay, who's going to listen to it or see it? What is the message, the tone, the look, the feel? What kinds of things are we going to do to reinforce that message in an ongoing basis so that we have that appeal and we have those reminders and we have that reach and that frequency happening on an ongoing basis so that we can attract the attention and the influence of the person's perceptions, or we can have them do some sort of call to action to either change their behavior or even act upon the behavior that we want, that emotion that we want them to feel or do something with, right? So what kinds of appeals can we employ, and how can we make it either the emotional or an informational, or even both, right? I like to say edutainment can be educating but also entertaining, and we can have that emotional appeal or informational appeal. And sometimes you can, if you get really good at this, you can have both, and it can be emotionally and informationally appealing. And think about maybe different examples that you have seen that are memorable to you. What's the most memorable ad that you can think of that was effective, that got you to buy or got you to do, or got your audience to do what you wanted them to do? Build upon that, right? What are some things that really worked about the ads that came to mind when I said, what is the most memorable to you that actually got you to act upon it? So think about some examples that you can maybe share and show your team that you're working with, who are working and actively pursuing the right ad at the right message, the right time, the right appeal, the right emotion, all of these things that we're talking about. What are some examples of those emotional appeals or informational appeals that you can deliver as, maybe this is an idea or a source of inspiration of something that you can incorporate into your brand or your social media or your product or your service or your nonprofit, whatever it is that you're wanting to accomplish. So think about that, and we'll have more on the next Marketing Essentials moment. But first, let's get into the interview and continue to learn and grow and go on this marketing journey with us. Welcome to the Marketing Expedition podcast. I'm your host, Ray Allen. I'm the president and CEO of Peppershock Media and the founder of the Marketing Expedition community. And today's guest, we have Sarah Noel Block. Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And my understanding is you are outside of Chicago and living life right now.
Yep, I am living life, like triple bags under my eyes right now after coming back from a music fest.
Oh, fun. And you've got 2 boys, so you're busy.
Yes.
I
They
love it.
came with, they jammed out.
Awesome. Oh, they got to go too. That's so much fun. I love bringing the boys when we can. So Sarah, let's give a more of an overview of who you are and how you got to where you are now. And we'll soon talk about the lean marketing system, but share a little bit more about your history and just kind of the things that got you to where you are now.
Oh, there's a journey. Yeah. I'm the founder of Tiny Marketing, and it all started because probably like a decade and a half ago, I was working as a one-person marketing department for a 7-company group.
Oh, wow. That's busy,
Yes,
busy. Holy moly.
it is. And 7 presidents. It wasn't like
Wow.
it wasn't like 7 product lines. No, it was 7 full-on companies with presidents, different locations, and I was the sole marketer. And I just
Wow.
felt really overwhelmed.
I feel
And
overwhelmed by you just telling me that right now.
as you should, there's good reason.
Oh my
And
goodness.
yeah,
Wow.
that lasted for years until, like, I broke down. I was like, "I need to figure out how to make this work."
Yeah.
So, I sat down and I started sketching out what it could look like what success would look like. And that's when I built out my framework that became basically the core of my business.
Yes.
And I built the framework, I tested it, I reiterated it, and it really worked. I was able to get that company to their highest revenue year in 60 years.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, 40% of it was marketing attributed.
Love it.
So I took that framework and I started helping other companies that had small marketing departments build out their foundation. And
Hmm.
then eventually I turned it into my business. And I'm working with like consultants and fractionals and service businesses to help them do the same.
I love it. So that's where tiny marketing began
Yep,
as
that's the
a
origin
necessity.
story.
Yeah. Very cool. So let's maybe talk a bit about that framework that you developed, and without giving away the farm, but what are some of the things that you implemented to help you manage 7 different, basically bosses? Let's be honest. I mean, and everyone has their
Yeah.
own opinion, right? So share with us kind of what you did to create this framework.
So the basis of the framework is streamline, systematize, automate, and outsource. So, what we're talking about today is the streamline part of it, which is the lean marketing engine. So, we'll get into that later, but systematize is, can you build templates around this? Can you create automations around this? Can you use AI for pieces of it? What can we use as an anchor that we can repurpose? And then building out batching systems and habit stacking. So it's really easy to do within your everyday life as you're living life.
Mm-hmm.
And then last is like go through an Eisenhower matrix. What
Mm.
are the aspects of your marketing engine that you don't want to do yourself? And pass that off to a VA or someone from Fiverr or Upwork to be able to take on those pieces. You don't have to do all of it.
Right, right. And now with the increasingly, advent of AI, I mean, it's not new, but it's new to marketers in the sense that people are using it, finding new ways to use AI and automation and all the different things. What are some of maybe the tools or ways that you've implemented AI in the systemizing and, creating efficiencies from the tools that you're using?
It saves me so much freaking time.
Hmm.
So, one thing I do for my clients is I will build out their strategic story, which is an all in one messaging, marketing, and content strategy. So, I build that out based off of customer interviews. I'll interview their customers. So,
Mm.
they have a good foundation. But then the part that really saves them time is I will take that and I'll build them a custom chat GPT with the data that I've created. So everything that comes out of it sounds exactly like them. And
Mm.
the ChatGPT has learned like who their customer avatar is, how do we talk about our service, and positioning, all of that.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's one way I help them is creating little bots for them. And then how I implement it is a lot around repurposing.
Mhm.
So I have my anchor content, which is my podcast, Tiny Marketing. And, that's just me. But from there, I use AI to create articles. I've trained it to sound like me. I use it to create my show notes. I
Mm.
use Opus to cut it into shorts for YouTube. So I
Mm.
use a lot of tools that way. And then I edit my podcast using Descript, which has a ton of AI integrations and is
Mhm.
able to edit so much for me. All I have to do is like drag and drop my files in there and set it up as a sequence, and it'll automatically edit everything for me.
I love that too, and it can clean up the audio and make you
Yeah.
sound really good and take out, I mean, not all of the ums. I mean, you can adjust how many ums are in your
I know. I think when
yeah.
you take it out too many, it sounds too robotic.
Exactly. Yep. You want to have some natural, pauses or things where you can have an inflection, but that's really cool because it has really sped up the ability to do more and more efficiently. And it's nice because then you can set it up and automate it and then let it run its course. And even now you can schedule things and it'll like post the posts at the most opportune times and you don't even have to like really
Yeah.
schedule it, which is super fun to be able to use that and know that when you're getting your content out, it's going to be when people are engaging at the most, active times, which is really
Yeah.
interesting.
That's
Yeah.
so nice too, because back in the day, we had to actually analyze everything and figure out the best time.
I know we were like shocked to find out that Thursday evenings is when to launch our podcast, not Thursday mornings, not Sundays, it was
That's
just fascinating.
interesting.
I know. I was like, really? And then we started doing it at that time and we were getting more traction and more downloads. So I was like, this is really interesting. And it's
Oh,
not that same way for everybody. It just depends on who your audience is and specifically the types of people that subscribe to your podcast. So it's different for different podcast customers that we have. And
well,
yeah.
I'm curious now. What tool did you use to figure that out?
So we use an agency-based tool that we've renamed as Pepperpost. So we white label, and I can always get the link because we do an affiliate deal with Cloud Campaign, and
Mhm.
they only sell it to agencies. We have a license agreement, and then we have our clients underneath us to use that, and it does all the scheduling based on the most opportune times, which is fascinating to see the different types of clients that we have and when their audience is either listening or engaging the most. Like we have a nursery and their, most opportune times is generally, Friday, because then people do stuff over the weekend and then they're thinking about what they're going to do, on a Friday for the rest
That's
of the weekend.
cool. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yep.
I get mocked regularly for the time that I post my podcast. Like,
Ah.
it's when I launched, I didn't think about it. I was like, people will listen to it whenever they want to listen to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, your biggest download date is the day you publish it. And you're gonna laugh at this. I publish Sundays at 12 a.m. That is when I
That's
publish.
when people listen. Well, and it's interesting too, because, we get people from all over the world, right? And so
Mhm.
when we have people from other countries listening, which is also a nice boost too, because people want to know how to market to Americans, right? And it's a big deal. So I think it's fascinating to see the different countries from where we're getting listeners from.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like Sunday at 12 a.m. I could only imagine, and people they absorb content when they're like, either laying in bed. And we just shared that maybe I won't be bringing my phone to bed anymore because
Yeah.
I dropped it on my eye and now I have a black eye. So there's a PSA for all of you listening. Don't drop your
Yeah.
phone.
Wear glasses. Wear safety protective
Yeah.
glasses when you're
Exactly. I know. And like the AirPods or, something in your ear. They actually, I was researching. I haven't bought it yet, but it's in my shopping cart. And so I keep getting reminded. But there's like this, it has speakers inside and it's a eye mask that you can put on and then
Oh, I saw that.
yeah. Okay. So
That's where it's at.
I'm definitely getting advertised too because it's like don't forget your item in the shopping cart. I'm like, okay, I will.
Yeah, you're like, that's a brilliant idea. I do
Yeah.
need that.
Anyway, so let's talk a little bit more though about the lean marketing engine. I mean, there's different aspects in different areas, but can you share maybe one of the success stories of, when you put a client through this process, like what happens? What do they go through and, what are some of the results? I mean, you mentioned that you grew that company, in more than 60 years, but kind of
Mhm.
maybe give us some details, kind of walk us through one of these frameworks that you did specifically, if you could.
Okay. So let's go through just this blueprint of what the lean marketing engine is and then some of the results.
Yeah.
So the first thing is choosing your one dream client, who it is that you're going to focus in on. And that's really where your messaging comes into play, because your messaging needs to I think that the biggest win I get is when people reply to my marketing emails and say, it sounds like you're talking directly to me. And that's
Mm-hmm.
super intentional, because I am. I
Mm-hmm.
look at one dream client and absolutely everything I create is for them. So that's what we do first, is dream client messaging. And then we look at our offer ecosystem. And the offer ecosystem looks at two lead generators. We need an active and a passive lead generator. We need a gateway offer, one gateway offer that easily transitions people into the one signature offer. And then we want to look at what micro offers can pull people in at different price points and earn that trust with people. And then we get into the visibility, the know, like, trust factor. And that is one core content, which is what I was talking about earlier. I use
Mm-hmm.
my podcast as my one core content, and then I'm able to repurpose it into lots of different kinds.
I love that too. I mean, being able to repurpose the words that come out of my mouth and then create blog posts, create social media snippets, or people call them all different kinds of things, audiograms, and
Hmm.
quotable moments, or slice and dice all the things, and use the tools, and it can go on in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's fabulous. And so you were asking about a win. I have this gateway offer challenge because I think that that's the most impactful thing for
Mm,
a lot of these businesses, because you're sending out custom proposals and getting crickets,
mm-hmm,
or you're trying to get people on a call, but your price tag is too high ticket for them to say yes. They need a little
mm-hmm.
trust building to happen. So the Gateway Offer Challenge, it's like a short mini course. And I got so many wins from my
Good.
clients.
Good.
We got like 5 sales calls booked. We got a paid consult the first day. It's crazy the impact having a gateway offer can have on your business.
So maybe let's go into a little more detail. What exactly do you describe as a gateway offer for those listening that may dabble or just wanting to understand more? What does that look like as far as the gateway mini course offer, or the gateway offer challenge? I like that.
Yeah. So first, I'll explain what a gateway offer is in general. So a gateway offer is super specific. It should take no less than or no more than 2 weeks, and it should cost between 10 and 25% of your signature offer. And it's structured like this. You start with an interview or a workshop with the client. And then you walk away and you build a documented strategy or audit or report that basically creates the blueprint of what journey you would take them through during the signature offer. So you're building out the strategy for them. And it
Okay.
needs to be good enough that they could take that strategy and do it themselves.
Sure. Sure.
But obviously, our goal is to get them to choose to work with us on it. So
Yes.
the third piece of it is the review session. So you send them the documented strategy, and then during the review session, you answer any questions. You talk about the next steps. You talk about what it would look like for you to take them through that journey and the container. So that's when
Mm-hmm.
the selling takes place, is that last piece.
Right. It's kind of like a little try before you buy, like you said, building the trust to know that you can work with these people, because it kind of works both ways, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but sometimes we go through a first initial phase and then discover that maybe they aren't our
Yeah,
dream
that has
clients,
definitely
right?
happened.
That's happened before. And that's okay, because then if you don't end up working with them, it paves the way for you to be able to work with people that you do want to work with as your soulmate client.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. You're both testing each other out, and
Mm-hmm.
during that gateway offer, you're also learning, like, am I the best person to be able to get them through this? Like to get them to that milestone that they want to get to? Because you might realize as you're doing it, someone else would do this better. They have
Yeah.
this very specific problem that would probably be better for someone else.
And sometimes that is the case where you end up just realizing, you know what, we're not going to be able to help this person no matter what we do or say or try or, because sometimes those dream soulmate clients turn out to be your worst enemy or nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know what? You
Absolutely.
have lots of experience working with 7 different bosses all at the same time. So I would imagine that you at least have figured out how to navigate,
Yeah, I have
Mhm.
definitely learned that having a shorter container at the start of an experience with a new client is perfect because you both get to test each other out, see if it's
Mhm.
a good fit before you move on to something that is a little more robust and it feels like you're married.
Yeah, it's like the dating stage, right? You're
Yeah.
in the lust period, and then the honeymoon wears off, and now can we really stick together forever?
Yeah. Is this long term? Maybe not.
Mhm. It's true. So yeah,
But
I think it just reminded me of a time we worked with. I won't name names or anything, but it was a dealer group, and so imagine a whole bunch of different types of auto dealers together for this consortium because they were all in a specific geographic area next door to each other, right? That's kind of like the
mhm.
auto mall area. And all of them coming together, and all of them have their different ways with their different,
Yeah.
vehicles that they promote, and trying to, get them all to agree on one thing is like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it is. Yes, I have been exactly what you're where you are and what you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
It's not a position that anyone wins.
I know at one point I've just basically told them, listen, you guys hired me to do this job and none of you are going to agree on anything. So just let me do what I think is going to be best because that's what we're going to do, like it or not.
Yeah. You know what? That is exactly why the gateway offer is so great too,
Hmm.
because during that first phase, when you're doing the interview with the stakeholders, you're getting all of their insights right there.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's included in the strategy. So they're heard. And during the review session, they're giving their sign off. They're approving the strategy for that
Hmm.
signature offer. So you eliminate that annoyance of, okay, nobody's agreeing because it's during this phase that everybody does agree.
Well, and then they have buy-in too, because it's, you're
Mhm.
talking to them. So they feel like they're a part of the process and that they, some of maybe their ideas were heard and implemented as part of the strategy. And then suddenly now it's like they can feel proud about it because they've engaged with you in made part of that they have ownership in it, right? And now it's
Exactly.
yeah, it's a nice way to do that. We do a kind of something a little bit different, but we do a marketing audit, and sometimes the word audit scares people away, but it's like we're not an IRS, we're not there to like IRS audit
Yeah.
you. It's just take a look
Yeah,
at everything.
you can name
Yep.
it whatever you want,
Yeah.
but pretty much everything has an audit element to it.
Right, totally. Well, I love that. I'm sure I don't need to throw a bunch of statistics and percentages at you for you to know that most of us spend too much time staring at screens. Being able to consume your content on the go means that your clients and customers can listen and learn from you without being tied to their desks. With Hello Audio, your customers can put their phones down, power off their PCs, close their MacBooks, and get the information they need from you while they're, let's say, walking a dog, doing a jigsaw puzzle, washing the dishes, maybe when they're in the car or exercising on the treadmill, sunbathing in their garden. Well, Hello Audio makes it incredibly easy for you. No more hours spent trying to figure out tech settings or trying to make a square peg fit into a round hole. You can click publish on an audio feed in a matter of minutes and have control over who accesses what. So visit peppershock.com/offers and sign up for a free trial of Hello Audio. So then you go through the vision and kind of create the content for them, and tell me about some maybe more wins that have happened as a result of people going through. Now they've gone through, they've got the blueprint, they've got the strategy, the plan, everything in order. Now, kind of walk us through, say that they've now, bought into what you want to do for them. Let's talk through that a little bit more. And they've got through
Yeah.
the first, initial honeymoon phase with you.
Yeah. So we're at this point where they've signed off on the gateway offer and they want to move forward. So at that point, they have agreed to what you're going to do during the signature offer. So a lot of the pushback that I hear from clients is, but my offer is so custom. I can't do this. I can't productize this. But this is how you do custom in a productized way, because all of the customization happened during the gateway offer and you formulated exactly what they need. And you've used their words because you're learning about their challenges, their goals. So you're able to tie every piece of that signature offer to their words. So they buy in, you move to the signature offer. And, that's when the magic happens. That's when you're taking them through like 1 to 2 milestones of where they want to be. And then maybe an upsell would get them to that final milestone. But you want to keep everything structured so they're getting very clear, distinct wins in each step of the phase. Because, if it takes too long or your plan is too mushy and it's hard to understand what that tangible is, it's not going to work out. It'll
Right.
fizzle out.
Yeah. No, and you're right, because people want instant gratification right away. And I always tell them, like, look, marketing is a marathon, not a sprint. You're not going to
Yeah.
get results overnight. And if you do, then obviously we're really lucky. But even then, it's like, okay, what can we iterate? What can we do more of? What can we, stop, start, keep, or tweak to keep the momentum forward? And you're right. Sometimes people just want instant. Oh, well, I tried that for a couple of months and didn't work. Well, okay, but
Yeah.
tell me more.
The thing about a good offer is that you have built-in wins. So you can set those expectations up front. Like, these are the wins you're going to get at these milestones, and just inform them, like, yeah, this is a marathon, and that ultimate win that you want will come in about 6 months. But these are the little mini wins that you get along the way and that you should expect.
I love that you say 6 months. I do that too. I try not to take on agreements anymore. I usually try to do 1 year, 2 year, 3 year plans in phases, right? And people who want to come at me and say, oh, well, we're just going to try this for 6 months and see how it works. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
tell me more. Let's talk about that,
You'll start to get momentum at that point, but you're not
Yeah.
going to be at the ultimate goal at that point.
Exactly. Yeah. And you have to invest up front to make it work long term. And hopefully people get that. Those are the ideal dream clients that understand that and will listen to your recommendations and feel good about what you're doing for them. And, finding those people it's gold when you can connect with those dream clients. Like you said, the one dream client, then replicate it. It's perfect.
Yeah. I talk about that a lot in the core content section of my program, because you are going to get certain wins at certain phases. But I'm sure having a podcast, and I know having a podcast, that the wins are very different at different points. When you first start a podcast, your biggest wins are the relationships you're building with the people you're interviewing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You might get like 30 listeners that month, but the relationships you build will probably turn into referral partners, business friends, and
Absolutely. And
things
it
like
has.
that.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Same for me. And then,
Well,
go ahead.
I was just saying that's part of a strategy, is creating podcasts so that people can do what we're doing to share the content develop relationships with people like you. And we've had lots of vendors that come up because I've interviewed people, and also it's turned into clients too.
Yeah.
Unsuspectingly, like, not that I'm here to like just, sell. It's like, oh, people have heard about what we're doing, and they see it, and they've either become podcast clients, or we also do video production and other things, and it's great because then they can kind of see and hear the expertise that we have as a podcaster. And like with your podcast, being able to continuously get out there and grow and have those relationships with the people that you want to interview, it's so awesome too, because when you ask people to be on your podcast, it's unobtrusive, right? It's not like it's kind of like people always want to be on somebody's podcast. They always want to be interviewed, right?
It's a give. It's a
like
great give.
Yeah, it's a nice strategy to be able to develop relationships with people that you may not otherwise get to be in front of, unless you ask them to be on your podcast and they're like, oh, I would be so honored, right?
Yeah. When like my dream client people are asking, like are just starting content marketing, and they're like, where do I start? I always say, start with a collaboration type of content marketing, because the relationships you're building during those collaborations and the borrowed audience that you get from those collaborations is huge. That's the fastest way to grow your email list, and then move on to building a signature series where you can own that stage.
It's really good. Yeah. And the cross contamination, if you will, is helpful, because now you've just doubled your audience by doing that. We've done some campaigns. One year we did for Valentine's Day. It was a handyman for a day and spa giveaway. So
nice.
We paired a handyman connection company with a spa, right? And how awesome to come, give this as a gift. And, we did a giveaway, but also then did an offer to say, oh, you didn't win, but here's, 50% off of the spa and 50% off on the handyman to try him out, basically. So it's a little bit of a loss leader, but then they both gained clients, and then they both had their audiences that now just doubled in size, because now the spa is promoting to the handyman connection clients, and then the, vice versa. Right. And it's just a beautiful collaboration to make that. And we did it, we did it on radio. We did oversized mailers. We did, all the social media and all this stuff. And we, they had to enter for a chance to win. So now we've collected thousands of, email addresses and, all first party data that's all permission based. And now they both got to promote to these people. And still to this day, the owners of both have that was the best promotion we've ever done, blah, 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 blah. So it's definitely, and they had, at a home show, they had a booth at a home show, and that was their giveaway there too. And, so it just was like a beautiful collaboration. And, if people can find like-minded clients that are not, you're not competing, right? A spa and a handyman, right? They're like, it's a natural fit, because a woman would love a spa day and a handyman for a day. So
yeah, I would take either of those.
I know. It was really good, but those collaborations are huge.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm on your show right now, right? This is a collaboration.
Absolutely.
I have never stopped doing collaborations. It was the first type of content marketing I did, but I always have it threaded through my entire strategy.
Good. Yeah. I mean, and for us, we'll promote the podcast, and then you will too. And so now it gets out to more people, and then the reviews, I love it too when I don't know if you have your guests give reviews, but they are the best reviews, because they want to help, lift what is that saying? The ships, oh my gosh, all tides raise ships, or I can't say it correctly, but
rise and blah, blah.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
All ships rise in high tide, or something like that. Anyway, working together.
Yes, together.
That's right. Very cool. Well, I want to know more. You can share a little more about your podcast and how people can reach out to you, and anything else that you'd like to say. We covered quite a bit, and you had so many great little nuggets of information. So, Sarah, tell us how people can reach you and how they can engage with you, and all of the good things.
Yeah. So my website is sarahnoelblock.com. That's easy enough. It's my name.
Mhm.
And the show is Tiny Marketing. And if you want to hang out, I spend time on LinkedIn. And same thing, Sarah Noel Block is the URL.
Very cool. I love that you have your middle name in there too, because there's probably lots of Sarahs and
There is. It's definitely an SEO choice.
right. That's good. I'm glad for you to do that. So many people need to recognize that if they have a really common name, that you've got to do something to keep it unique, right?
Yeah. Think about it. Sarah Block. Is there any more of a generic name?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And Alan, when my maiden name changed to Alan, so the business name is Peppershock Media, but my maiden name is Peppersack. And
Mhm.
at the time, peppersack.com was already taken by one of my relatives. So that's where Peppershock came from. And so we still needed to have, some creativity there, because Alan is as common as it gets, right?
True.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for coming on the show today. And we will definitely get this out there and collaborate some more. And it's been a great time talking to you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And for those of you listening, the best thing that you can do for Sarah and I is share this with others that you know that need to hear what Sarah had to say today. And also, we talked about giving reviews. That is like gold to podcasters. So a review would be wonderful. Screenshot it, send it to me. I always do shout outs once a month for anybody who gives us a review, and would love to shout out your review. And with that said, enjoy your marketing journey.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Expedition podcast. Want to continue the journey? Don't miss out on new episodes. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Wouldn't it be great if there was one place you can go to get all the latest information and tips about marketing and advertising? The Marketing Expedition community is that place. People like you gather in our online community to build relationships with others and find the latest marketing trends, tactics, tools, and technology. We help you build your brand and your bottom line. Start your adventure today. Visit themarketingexpedition.com to find out more.